Hey guys, welcome to Multitaskr. I'm Joe Frosto, CEO and founder of Multitaskr, a marketplace where we unite homeowners and the best service providers in your area. But today I want to welcome you to our podcast. It's called the Home Solutions Network Podcast, and we're going to be introducing the top service providers, clients that have used our marketplace, and some of the people that direct this company, and very exciting stories. The goal of the podcast is to save you time, save you money, give you insights, give you tips, and create value for your home. So come on in and let's check it out. Hello everyone, welcome to Multitaskr's Home Solution Network Podcast, a marketplace where we unite homeowners and service providers. On this episode, I am sitting down with John Cefalu of The Buildsters, and we're going to discuss the importance of helping homeowners overcome the challenges of construction and also the collaboration between The Buildsters and Multitaskr. John, thank you for joining us today. Let's begin with sharing a bit about yourself so our listeners can get to know who you are.
Yeah, I mean, that's a loaded question, but in the standpoint of what matters, I'm not a contractor from the sense of what most people think of a contractor as. I started JJ's Landscaping 2 years ago, back in 2018. At that point, it was just mowing lawns to be able to make enough money to be able to get to whatever my next job was. There was no plan to build it to what it is today. And then in construction, it just kind of works where once you do something good by one homeowner, the word spreads a little bit. So one lawn turned into 2 lawns, turned into 3 lawns, turned into someone asking us to do some pavers, turned into a full backyard remodel. And me and Derek at that time, we didn't have our license yet. So we were doing it. We were teaching ourselves by watching YouTube the night before and going out and getting the job done the next day. Nice. And then rinsing and repeating. So not the way to do it, not advocating that that's what people should do in getting into construction, but it worked for us. And then what we found out is that we were doing things that other contractors weren't doing, which was selling us more jobs, even though we weren't qualified from the work perspective. We knew that if we could keep selling and keep making the homeowner experience the best it could possibly be, that we could back into finding the right laborers and crews and contractors to be able to come through it. And long story short, we are licensed. We've been licensed for about a year and 8 months now. So it wasn't a long journey, but it all came into the homeowner experience to be able to get us to where we were. And back in 2020, being a $4 million in revenue company. And what we learned, and I'm sure we'll get into it, is what eventually launched the Buildsters.
Cool. So you went from learning in YouTube
Yep.
how to cut lawn and how to put pavers and all that in 2018 into $4 million in revenue last year.
Yep.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was exciting. Yeah, a lot went into that, but it was exciting. Cool.
And so now the Buildsters. So that's cool.
So now the Buildsters.
I would say before we even jump to the Buildsters, like, why? What made you successful from learning how to do pavers from YouTube in 2018 to doing over $4 million in revenue last year? What do you think was the keys to success for that?
So there's a giant hole in the construction industry, especially on the residential, more kind of mom and pop job type of a basis, where the contractors that are doing that work more or less are just going out, want to get the job done. They don't want to spend the time with the customer. They don't want to spend the time to make it so it's a full visualization process. They don't want to go through the different product specs and the different sets. And when products come or problems come up, which they do, even for the best construction company, dealing with those problems is what kind of sets you apart from other contractors. So by no means was the work that we did in the early stages the highest of all quality. And we even had some problems. We had some customers come back to us, but throughout that process, we always took care of it. We always communicated there was a problem. We always communicated what should have been done, what happened, and what we're going to do to fix it. So that by the time our reputation from a quality standpoint matched up with what we were going out and selling and visualizing and creating from a journey perspective for the homeowner, we had all the tools that we needed to be able to get that done. So we did things. As soon as we had our first, I think we sold like a $60,000 job. And for us, that was like gold at the time. I mean, we thought it was just what we made it at that point. So we started reaching out. We worked with all of our suppliers. We met individually with each one of our suppliers all around San Diego, letting them know who we were, asking if they had any other connections to not homeowners, but to contractors in the space that we could network with and see if we could help. And then we sat down with literally every single one of these contractors. We told them what we were about. We overpaid them on the jobs that we sold to be able to show that we were working for them, not just trying to use them to get to that 10% commission and walk away. But we had it down pat from the selling side of it, from the side of it where we built the trust, where we visualized everything for the homeowner, where we clearly educated what we were doing, who was going to be there. Now it was just our job at that point to be able to get the project done. Mm-hmm. And when we explained that to all of these contractors and guys that had their license and guys that were just going job to job to job, they loved it because they didn't want to deal with the stuff that we were good at. Mm-hmm. They didn't want to deal with the headaches of sitting down and doing a 3D design or a 2D rendering or any of those types of things. They didn't want to deal with the problems after. They didn't want to have to schedule and dispatch and make sure that the materials were there on time. They just wanted to be able to be paid what they want to be paid and work with people that were going to take care of their problems for them. Mm-hmm. And because of that, homeowners loved it because they had a bridge in the middle. I mean, everyone knew that they were working with JJ's Landscaping, which was some in-house guys, but a lot of kind of subcontractors underneath us that we were working out with. So they loved having that kind of network line of communication in the middle. Contractors loved that everything was just set and ready to go for them, and we weren't trying to barter with them saying, oh, you can do this for this money. I mean, what they asked us for, they usually got. And the network just expanded to the point that we were just basically at that point matching up homeowners that wanted to get a project done with the best landscapers that we could find, pairing it together, and that was the culmination of what JJ's was and is. And it's just kind of grown from there.
So that was the key, just the customer service, customer success, and being able to tailor what they needed with the right pro to give them the right solution. And then the pros loved it because it's a job that's ready to go. They don't have to really deal with all the headaches of the front part of it, but more of, hey, I'm just going to go and execute. Absolutely. And then you guys were making sure that they would get the products on time, they would do the job on time, and everybody was happy, pretty Absolutely. Much, right?
Yeah.
That's great. So I'm assuming that based on that, that's where you got the idea for the Buildsters?
Yeah. So the Buildsters came. So we focused heavily on our brand presence as JJ's Landscaping. Mm-hmm. We focused on partnering with influencers by trying to actually grow our social media, by focusing on our website, and the last opportunity that came up that really brought this all together was we were reached out to do a radio show. And at that point it was called Can You Dig It? Just some kind of punny landscape name that the radio came up with. But we saw that as an opportunity not to necessarily even sell jobs, but as another way to be able to build trust and kind of build a fan base and build a following so that they may not need a landscape project right this very minute. But if they hear us on the radio and then they see us online and they see our website and then they see an ad of ours or anything across the board, and they're going to come back to us first in the future. And then they're going to see the influencer post to be able to build trust. All we're trying to do is build trust all the way up and down. So that came from the podcast. And then on the podcast, we reached out to all of our suppliers. We reached out to these guys to basically sponsor the show. And then we reached out to our other contractors in our network, not just landscapers, but general contractors, framers, carpenters, flooring guys, roofing guys, to be on the show, to be able to share more expert knowledge. And within that kind of aggregation of people, as each contractor was spending less money on marketing individually because we were kind of sharing our leads, sharing our data, sharing one customer is good for 6 or 7 home improvement projects over the lifetime of their house. Mm-hmm. So if our roofing partner can go in and do their roof, and then a year from then they need landscaping and they're going to work within the network, we're basically just sharing this aggregated model of trying to bring construction up to a certain standard of brand awareness and credibility, as opposed to trying to bring each individual company up to brand credibility and brand awareness. And then in turn, we all grow at the same time. Mm-hmm. And then the sponsor companies are super excited because now all of these contractors are just showcasing all the products that they use, advocating to go shop in their stores, basically going through our day-to-day process. So now we have an ecosystem of guys that are sharing leads, guys that are shopping with these suppliers to be able to get the projects done, and homeowners who are engaging with this content that we're putting out together. And at the end of the day, they don't even realize they're getting educated on what goes into construction, but it makes it easier for them to be able to choose a contractor in the future, mm-hmm. knowing what the process should look like.
Cool. And then, so how long has Buildsters been alive?
Buildsters been alive for 7 months now. Yeah. So 7 months. 7 months since we incorporated and actually became a real thing.
Nice. And so why would contractors contact Buildsters? Like what's your business plan for them right now, with proposition, value proposition for them currently?
So what we're doing, we're taking what we did here in San Diego with JJ's Landscaping and that group of contractors, and we're making it something that can scale nationally. So you're coming onto our platform, you're getting access to a new social media kind of development site where you're able to post your content, post your education, show what you know within your space, show the projects that you're putting out. We're putting you on our map. We're going through our accreditation process to be able to make sure that the Buildsters that are on our site are up to a certain standard of contractor. And then we're pushing out content like crazy so that we somewhat cut out the middleman. The other marketplace companies, a lot of them kind of want you to pay for the lead or want you to pay for the commission of the job or want you to do this, that, or the other. We want to create those natural interactions between homeowner and between contractor by partnering it up with a platform that's specifically tailored to construction to be able to create those engagements. And then along the way, we want to be able to help with your brand journey. We want to help with the development of your social media presence, the development of your content, the strategy behind how you're putting the information out there so that you can come into jobs, not just leads, connecting with people that are ready to go, that already trust you, so that you can go out there and not compete with 10 other guys, but go out and get an actual qualified lead/job that you're going to be able to show up, get the work done, and have the same support that we were giving our subcontractors and the rest of our team in JJ's Landscaping, but on a massive scale.
And so I'm assuming that with your success with JJ Landscape, you saw that it's important nowadays to be able to have a brand awareness, to be able to have the right marketing strategies. And a lot of these small mom and pop companies, I mean, they've worked super hard. They've been in the industry for a long time, but it's very old school mentality, right? You've been in the industry since, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or your parents or your grandparents were in the industry. And so you know the skill very well, but the last thing you want is to be marketing or be a marketer, right? Yeah. So I'm assuming that you guys saw that was an opportunity that you can do for them to be sort of a agency for people in the construction field and be able to help them have awareness of who they are, what they're good at, and being able to just focus on doing what they do good, and you guys helping them out and showcasing that. Is that Absolutely. The main purpose of it right now?
It is, and it's also kind of a mindset shift. Most of these kind of mom and pop smaller construction companies don't even see the need. It's not even that they don't want to market, it's that they don't see the need to market. Because up until now, I mean, we're going through kind of a generational shift to a certain extent where the older generation that's used to just driving down the street and going to the store that they see on the side of the road or on a billboard or on a radio ad or on a TV ad, the younger generation, the 25 to 40-year-olds, are using social media to be able to source and find information on who they're going to work with. I mean, what products they're going to buy, and it's trickling down into construction. So it is coming up with that solution to make it so that it's easier for the individuals that want to market, but it's also that mindset shift of how easy it is to market if done correctly and how necessary it's going to be for the next 10, 15, 20 years plus to be able to have that presence. Otherwise, the best case study is the guys like me and Derek can come in who understand that side of the spectrum, don't understand construction to the fullest extent, can come in and take over an industry just because we know how to position it and back into the solution that we need. So we want to provide that same solution to the contractors who are really, really good at their craft and make it super simple so that they don't have to keep spending money on lead generation services, and they can keep spending money on developing out their company.
Love it. So JJ Landscape 2018 started with YouTube, learning how to do stuff in YouTube. Then over 4 million revenue 2020. Then you start Buildsters 7 months ago. And then you hear about Multitaskr, I think it's only been a couple of weeks ago, right? And you reached out to us. What caught your attention, and what did you think who Multitaskr was?
So I did some research before I made the call. I think I talked to Anna, who's your social media director, just to go through what you guys do. And during that conversation, it came through as you guys were the absolute kind of mirror of what we're trying to do for contractors, but for homeowners. So being able to bring those two things together, you guys are the best at making an experience for the homeowner, designing something that, like my tip that I'm not sure where that's going to come out in the world, but the tip of being able to shift the mindset of construction and development being an expense and more so being looked at as an investment. You guys paint that picture. You take them down the path. You take them through being able to visualize the project before it's been completed. And then ultimately, I mean, you're working towards being able to pair them up with that contractor to be able to get the work done. But what you guys do, what I love more than anything, is you make it so that it's kind of a safe place for people, for homeowners to come and put their ideas on paper. Mm-hmm. Whereas a lot of times in construction, one of the biggest problems is that homeowners don't share enough information because they're afraid that if they share that information, it's going to be used against them when it comes to the sale, when it comes to the bidding process. So you guys make it a safe place where not only is it okay to share that information, it's also needed to share that information to be able to get the full experience and the full journey. And then by the time you walk down the path, they can see, feel, touch, know exactly how the finances lay out, know exactly what their construction project's going to look like, know exactly what their ADU, where it's going to sit, how it's going to sit, what's going to be inside of it, to where you can make the most educated decision that you can possibly make within the construction space, so that you can just basically hand over a check and know what you're going to have before the job's even done. Mm-hmm. So to be able to pair that, to mirror those two companies together, take the guys that care about the pros more than anything else, take the guys that care about the homeowners more than anything else, and be able to create a process where we can work off of each other, it's just powerful.
I agree. When you came and you kind of saw who we were, and then we spoke, I could see that. And then, we've had meetings back and forth now about it. And so I know that we're already talking about doing exactly what you said. And this will be sort of a launching point moving forward to be able for you guys to take care of the contractors, making sure you vet the contracts and making sure you empower the contractors and that we get the right contractors to do the jobs. And we are going to empower the homeowner to have the right tools, educate them. And like you said, I love how you put it. It's a safe place where they can come in and nobody's going to be pushing them to buy this, buy that. It's more of, we want to understand the consumer to know exactly what their goal is and what their vision is. Or sometimes they don't even know. They go, hey, I bought this house and what can I do, right? I want to do this or I want to do that. And so we can give them different tips, advice, tailor solutions for them without pushing them to do anything, right? But the moment they say, okay, I'm ready, one of our biggest concerns has been the contracting side, right? We do have a lot of contractors that are approaching us now. We do have in-house contracting, but that's not our intention. Our intention is more to give it to other contractors and us just to help them, manage it, empower them, have everybody ready to go, right? And so we just want to be able to make sure that the handoff goes smooth and that we can then hand it back right when we're done and everybody's happy. Yeah. So that was one of the things that we've been talking about before you guys came in the picture, was like, okay, we're scaling, we're helping out more and more homeowners every day now. And one of my biggest concerns is the contractors, right? Are we going to be able to work in this, environment where we all trust each other and where we all make sure that we do what's best for the client and that whatever we promise is going to be done? And so when you came in the picture and we talked about it and you were the one that proposed, well, why don't we just utilize what we're doing best and we can help you guys with the contractor side and you guys can help us with the homeowner side. And so I think it'll be a great relationship, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to start off and I know things will get better as we go. But I think it'll be a very, very cool journey to do this and first take over San Diego and make sure we help out as many homeowners out there and as many contractors out there. And if we can empower both sides, that'll be wonderful. And then from there, keep scaling it, right? Nationwide and one home at a time, though. There's a lot to do and we just got to do it right and not try to scale too fast, because then people might not be too happy if we do things too quickly, and we've got to make sure that we do things right for them, right? So this season with us, I know you and I have talked about this briefly, but for us is really focused on ADUs. I'm certain that you, being in the construction industry, you've heard about ADUs now. It's a very hot topic, especially in California. So with ADUs, I think that one of the things, as we talked about, is we're selling so many ADUs and we're guiding so many homeowners how to get from A to Z with ADUs, that once we get to the step of, okay, you know what you're going to pay, you know what you're going to build, you know what to expect on timeframes, now we're going to hand it off to the right contractor, right? Buildsters is going to be an important part of that to be able to get us the right contractor. But what other tools or ideas you think that you're going to be able to help out and empower the contractor to be able to do that ADU, or tips that you can give to homeowners in regards to the ADU space right now?
Well, I guess so twofold. So one, from the contractor perspective, the biggest problem with ADUs and new builds just in general is the amount of time it takes them to get through permitting and get through the processing and get through basically just from when a contract is signed to the point of breaking ground is a major headache, as you know. I mean, it takes time, it takes resources, it takes energy. So some guys stay away from them specifically for that. They'd rather go and do a job that doesn't need a permit or that needs a quick permit or that comes in and is just easier to get across and ultimately, end of the day, easier to just collect the money and be able to move on to the next job. So within this relationship, within the fact that your guys' process is already kind of taking that ADU from that start to finish process, now we can go empower these contractors that are the best in the business to just show up and be able to get the work done, making sure we have all the right information, making sure we have all the permits, making sure the job's managed properly. But it's just, here's your package, let's get this done, showcase it to the world, and move on to the next. So it makes it much easier for that contractor to come in. And ultimately they have more resources to be able to talk to. If a problem comes up for a contractor in the field within their own company, there's no one to be able to talk to and ask for advice or ask for a resource. Now, for contractors that are involved in our process, if anything were to come up on the job, which once again, they will, things are going to come up. It's just construction, it's how it goes. They have a resource in us as the Buildsters to be able to help them along the way if there's ever any needs or anything they need advice on or help managing. And they have Multitaskr to be able to reach out to if there's any clarifications on the project, any spec sheet design. I mean, anything to be able to make the project better, we're going to be there to be able to provide the support for both sides. And then on the homeowner side of the coin, ADUs are the perfect example of kind of what construction is and where it's going, because not only it's kind of a newer-ish trend as far as the popularity goes, but you can easily see that investment value. You can easily see not only just from the standpoint of raising the value of your property, but literally being able to create another income source. So you can visualize, this is how much my property should be able to increase if I add this usable space. This is how much monthly income I could generate if I so choose to by adding this ADU. And it's just an easy journey from, I want to get something done on my house to be able to add value as an investment. What should I do? I have some space in my backyard or wherever we're going to do it. This gives you the journey to be able to get it there. Because the advice that we give, even in landscaping, is that usable space is king over anything else. When we're landscaping, if you can add an outdoor kitchen, if you can add fire pit area, if you can add basically anything that makes it more usable, more hardscape, more anything, you're adding value to your house. Mm-hmm. So if you can add more usable space in the form of another dwelling unit, I mean, that maximizes that investment value. And something that landscaping could never do is actually putting money back into your pocket when the project's completed. So it's a win-win for everyone, especially within our process.
Great. No, and I think a lot of people that we're helping out right now with ADUs, we haven't really even explored yet on the outside of the ADU what we're going to design for them or help them build, because that's going to be the next step, right? Once we get the permits and we start building that, I know a lot of these homeowners are telling us, okay, well, what's next, right? What do we do outside? So I know we'll utilize your expertise on that to come up with some nice proposals for them and be able to make the right choices. So on the end of the homeowner, as you mentioned, if homeowners contact you, where do you think that you'll be able to get support from us to be able to help you out?
So basically, I mean, we want to, from a Buildsters perspective, we want to be able to make the transition from wanting to work with the Buildsters and working with Multitaskr to be seamless, to at least feel as though it's the same experience. We're not a lead generation source where you guys are paying us to hand over these leads. We truly believe that your guys' partnership and your guys' process on the homeowner side is better than ours, and it's more framed out than ours is. So we want to be able to attract the people that want to work with our contractors and get the job done right, to be able to fill out an inquiry, qualify themselves. We then pass that over to you guys to be able to go through your process, through the design, through the estimating, through the basically to the point that we can get the contract actually signed on behalf of another contractor to be able to sign it over and then pass it right back. So I know that at first it's going to be something where it's kind of a little bit awkward to be able to go from, I filled out a form with the Buildsters, why am I getting reached out to by Multitaskr? And then, oh, now that I just got comfortable with Multitaskr, you're going to hand me back to the Buildsters now. I mean, I think that it's just a matter of realizing that our intentions are one and the same, that we're creating that safe place together, and that we're just trying to maximize what we're best at as companies to be able to make the process as efficient as possible, and lean on each other to be able to make it so that that journey for the homeowner and the contractor is the best that it can possibly be, because that's going to avoid outside of getting good projects done, that's going to avoid problems as well.
Agreed. Yeah, I think we both, our biggest goal is we want the end users to succeed, right? We want homeowners to succeed, and we want the contractors to succeed. If the homeowner's happy with the work that's being done and the quality and the cost and the time and everything, and the contractor knows that it's a homeowner that is educated and understands what the process entails, they're going to do their job and everybody's going to be happy, and we just keep moving forward, right? And we could be that kind of a sounding board that clients can call and say, hey, this is going on, or what happens with here, or a contractor goes, hey, this hasn't arrived yet, or what's going on there, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's going to be cool. It's going to be a great journey to keep moving forward and helping each other out. And I mean, we're going to keep working on so many tools together. I know right now we're going to show you a little bit of the VR that we're working on, and the showroom, just to empower homeowners. And I think I would love to hear your perspective on how it'll also help out contractors, right? When we tell them, hey, this is the job you're going to do, how is it going to empower them to be able to do the right job and look at it from that perspective? I'm always thinking of the consumer, and I'm always thinking of everything that we're creating. It's like customer focused and customer obsessed with what they're seeing. But from your end, I think your obsession is more on the contractor side. So it'll be great to hear how you think it's going to empower them, once we see that. Well, I mean, from my end, I think that's it for today. I wanted to have homeowners listen to why Buildsters, why Multitaskr, a little bit about who you are, John, and how we're going to help them succeed and help out other contractors that want to reach out to either Buildsters or to Multitaskr. How can we help empower them as well? Is there any other things you want to mention, or any tips for anybody out there?
I think it's just a matter of stay tuned. I think this is the first conversation of many. I think that if you go to the buildsters.com, how we're going to have it set up, just to be able to make it so that everyone completely understands. If you're filling out one of our forms to be able to get in touch with one of our contractors, you're more likely than not going to be talking to someone at the Multitaskr team. And that's what we want to come out of this, the accountability of that. So check out thebuildsters.com to even further understand what we bring to the table for the entire construction process from both ends. Check out our social media at the Buildsters to be able to just see some of our work in progress, see some of the cool collaborations that we're doing, and ultimately let's get going on some of these consultations and let the process work so that we can build that trust and make the process even better.
John, thank you for joining us today on Multitaskr's Home Solution Network podcast. And thank you to our listeners. We hope you enjoyed learning from the Buildsters, and also looking forward to seeing how the collaboration will evolve between contractors, homeowners, Buildsters, and Multitaskr. Thank you guys, and see you next episode. And now our guest will experience Multitaskr's virtual reality platform. Okay, John, so this is the web VR showroom that I was telling you. You can go on it through your VR goggles. You can do it on your desktop, on your mobile phone. And the intention is for homeowners and also for the contractors themselves, where they can utilize it, one, to either look at products that they can eventually start designing with other clients, or like an example of, hey, this is how things are going to look. So when you walk in through here, the first will be, there could be a video or a message from either, someone from our company or somebody else to kind of explaining what they're going to do through this kind of experience. And then if you walk to your either left or right, whichever way you want to go.
This is incredible. Keep going.
Yeah, just keep going. So to your right, you'll have the bathroom, and then you'll have on the back, you'll have the kitchen. But eventually what's happening with this is you'll be able to change the layouts. So you'll be able to design different layouts of bathrooms, different color schemes, different materials, and everything will be tied to different prices, based on your zip code, and also financing products based on, who you are, your credit, income, all that. Or you can just play with it without making it personal. But
And I can interact with everything. I mean, or I will be able to interact with everything in here to be able to like see how much it is, to change the layout, do everything. Wow.
Yep. So bathroom, kitchen to the other end. And then when you go outside, which I know you'll love because of your landscape company, you'll be able to also design landscape, hardscape, and also the ADU, right? You'll be able to change layouts. You'll be able to change, like I said, materials, color schemes, all that. And yeah, I mean, when we started doing this, the intention was mainly for homeowners. But now a lot of other providers, contractors are telling us, hey, can we utilize this as an example, or what can we do with it? So I would love to hear from you, from your perspective, from Buildsters, talking to contractors. How do you think this will help out? How do you think this will revolutionize what people see and do with construction?
I mean, no one's doing anything like, I mean, with JJ's, we thought we were revolutionary for being able to just do 3D designs and be able to like let people see it from like a fly-through standpoint. This is that, I mean, from a homeowner, you're here, like you can see and feel what you got. But for a contractor, especially, to be able to have access to this technology, to be able to show what you're going to be doing and also be able to switch stuff out is crazy. Because I mean, the hardest part is for contractors is taking an idea or taking a budget or whatever it is and turning it into a story to be able to get someone to say yes and move forward on everything. And so much gets lost in translation. So to be able to literally walk in here and be able to do this and be able to kind of sell to my customers using this, it's just insane, especially when you have the rest of the functionality you're talking about by interacting with stuff and changing layouts. It will save, I mean, I don't even know how many hours.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah, one of the cool things I think is going to help out with contractors and homeowners is on the change order side, right? Where you can actually design things now, and with construction, one of the sucky parts is that you can't actually build it, right? You have to kind of commit to some 2D, 3D that you think you kind of know how it feels, but it's not the same as actually walking through something and saying like, oh, I do like the kitchen here, and I do like this here, and I do like the pavers there, and I do like that color. So I think it's going to save a lot of time, as you mentioned, for any future, discussions on, oh, I didn't like this, or I never said that, or just having everything clear, right? So removing that uncertainty in construction and making it clearer and creating more certainty.
No, it's really, really awesome. And then when I do change something, so I mean, you're saying it will just like update the price for me. So like if I'm coming through and I'm bidding something and I change this deck to like a composite deck or to half the size of the deck, like it'll automatically update.
Correct.
Yeah. No, this is next level. I mean, if product companies aren't on here, I don't know how you're going to be able to sell your stuff in the future. Because most people, a lot of the suppliers we work with literally still have their price book just in Excel. And I mean, it's hard enough for us as contractors to be able to visualize the pricing and why this is that, or how to choose, or how to pick the pricing from that. So just the ease to be able to have your price book in here from a supplier standpoint makes it so that everyone else can do your work for you.
Hey guys, thank you for joining Multitaskr's Home Solution Network podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please click on subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our next podcasts. Remember, every single podcast, we're going to give you different advice on how to save time, how to save money, and how to create value. Check us out at gomultitaskr.com. Click subscribe.